Hi, welcome to the Purls and Polish podcast. I'm your host, Rachel. Welcome to episode 35. If you're new here, welcome. If you are returning, welcome back. This is my little corner of the internet where I talk about knitting, books I'm reading, movies I'm watching, anything else that has just caught my fancy. So welcome. I'm so excited to spend a bit of time with you. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry. Links to those are in the description below, along with any of the makers, designers, or anyone else that I mentioned in today's episode. So, episode 35. Last week, episode 34, I did not have any finished objects, and we spent this whole time talking about why that felt really weird. Today, I do have a finished object. These are my first socks of the year. This is yarn by Purls and Postulates, and it was a gift from Rachel of Ferris Fiber. I think it's Ferris Fiber Arts. So they're done, and I'm so excited. I love how colorful these are. I'm trying to like look at the camera and not look at the camera at the same time. So I did just a pretty basic sock. You guys know I love a ribbed sock. There's just something comforting, but still simple enough. Just since there's so much color in this yarn, I wanted to make sure that the rib was gonna let that color shine through instead of get kind of boggled down. So the set did come with this super hot pink, and I love it. Because I knit my socks with kind of a taller cuff and a slightly longer heel flap, I don't always have enough to do a matching toe. So I had about 6 grams left. So that's not enough for a full toe for 2 socks. So I usually like have to pick one or the other. So I usually do either like cuff and toe, or heel and toe, or cuff and heel. But I can't do all 3 unless I have a larger amount of like the contrast color. Words are hard. So anyways, these are done. I need to take pictures of these still, but so excited to finish my first object of the year. Whips. So many whips. First, my Fight Club project. If you don't know what my Fight Club project is, go back to episode 33. I'm gonna try and tag it somewhere on the screen. If it's not in the screen, it'll be in the show notes. But episode 33, I talk all about my Fight Club projects. It's gonna be under the whips section. But anyways, that's on hold for a minute. I ended up not having enough yarn to complete the project, so I had to order some more, which was fine. But I'm waiting until that comes in so that I can blend the colors if they're not from the same dye lot. Since I did not buy them both at the same time, ensuring that they would be the same color. So waiting on that, which is fine because it doesn't have a deadline. Next is my first non-pair of sock cast on for the year. So first is the Engrain Shawl. This is by Sarah Opie, and it's been out for a couple of years, and I love how it looks. It's a 3-color fade, and it's basically like a really long diamond. So you can use it as a scarf, you can use it as like a wrap. So I've been wanting to do this project for a long time. I even had the yarn for it for a long time. I have 3 skeins of, I will show you 2 of them. Hickory Lane Fiber Arts, which you guys know I love Lisa and Hickory Lane. So here are 2, and then I have the 3rd one. I had to wind this up by hand because I didn't have like my ball winder. But anyways, that's the 3 together. So this was from her Frozen 2 collection, which I think came out like 3 or 4 years ago, maybe 4 years ago. But this is all based off of the movie Frozen 2. So this color is called Enchanted Forest. This one is Right Thing. Hold on. Focus. And then this one is Mother's Scarf. Let me lower that down without it focusing on my face. So yeah, I've had this in my stash for a while, and it always just kept getting pushed to the side for other projects. And so this year I was like, I want to do this project and I want to do it early because I don't want to wait another year and then never do it. So I've started it. I started it on Monday and we are like trucking right along. So here we are and I love this color. Pink is not one of my go-to colors, but I love how soft this is. I love like those hints of purple that pop through. It is not like bright pink. Not a ton of pooling. You can start to see a little more pooling as it's getting whiter, but nothing that bothers me. So the idea is you work kind of up and you increase, and then you blend colors 1 and 2 together, and then you keep increasing, and you hit like the middle, and then you start decreasing, and then you decrease for a while, and then you blend colors 2 and 3, and then you keep decreasing back to a triangle. So it's really easy construction. It's not hard. I would say the trickiest thing so far has been the I-cord cast on. And it's I-cord, so it's not that. I wouldn't say it is as difficult as some other cast ons are. And then Sarah even gives you 2 different options with video links. So you can go for the light, slightly more advanced option, which is, hold on, I have my notes here, or rather my pattern. I'm not going to show it to you since it is a paid pattern and, you know, intellectual integrity and all that. But they have an established continuous I-cord, which is the more advanced option, or the simpler cast on, which is the more beginner friendly option. Both of them are great. Both of them look amazing. I went with the continuous I-cord cast on since that was not one I had tried before. And then you have this I-cord edging throughout right here on the side. So I've done I-cord edging before. And typically you see it written as like you knit 3, you get all the way to the end, and then you knit 3, right? You knit the last 3 stitches. And then when you go on the other direction, you slip 3 stitches with the yarn in front, and then you start knitting. So you're taking your fabric and you're getting it to kind of, hold on this way. You're taking your fabric and you're kind of getting it to fold in on itself. So I've done it before and I didn't like it because I could not consistently get the fabric to look the same. Some sides were a little tighter, some were a little looser, and it did not look as nice as some other people's I-cord edging. Until I did the habitation throw. I don't remember who wrote it. But anyways, I've done it before. I have one that's currently on the needles. And the way, I think it's Helen Stewart. But anyways, the way that it's written, you knit the first stitch, you slip the second stitch with yarn in front, and then you knit the third stitch. And then on the wrong side, you slip the first stitch, you knit the second one, and then you slip the third one. So because you're slipping with yarn in front and knitting, you're kind of getting the stitches to rearrange themselves, and it looks so much cleaner in my opinion, and it's so much easier in my opinion. Because you don't have to remember like what side am I on, am I slipping or am I not? It's very easy to follow because the stitches that are going to be slipped always have the purl bump and the ones that you're knitting do not. So that's just a personal preference. That was something that I changed from the pattern because I can remember this better than the way that it's written. It still gives me an I-cord, it still looks beautiful, so not a big deal. One thing that I am doing, I did put a little stitch marker. This one's pink on the beginning side. This one is green right here on like the end of the row, just so I can remember which side is the beginning and which one is the end, as far as like the right side. So I know the right side starts with pink and the wrong side starts with green. And then I put these orange stitch markers. So there's one right here and there's one right here. And between the orange stitch markers are 50 stitches. So in that way I know like how far I'm increasing instead of having to sit there and count 150 stitches. So yeah, there's that. So if you have not looked at this pattern, definitely take a look. It is so beautifully written. It's very like potato chip kind of knitting, in that you don't have to think all that hard. You just kind of have to knit and just remember which row you're on, because you increase every so many rows. But yeah, this is a great project. Definitely check it out. My second cast on for the week. I wasn't planning on casting on 2 new projects. Let's be honest. I was planning on working on this Engrain Shawl and then waiting for the yarn to come in for my Fight Club project and finish that one. And then maybe casting something else. Maybe not. Maybe picking up one of my missing or forgotten projects that I have not been finished yet. However, a call went out for test knitters, and I've been trying to be very good about not applying for test knits. Test knits are wonderful. I love doing them. But every once in a while, I just take on too much. And so I wasn't planning on doing any test knits for the year as much as possible. But this one came out. This was by, I believe you pronounce it Nalia. But she did these Advent socks that were amazing. She also commented on some of my Advent socks, and I literally had a fangirl moment where I just kind of sat and screamed because she liked my work and she commented on it. Anyways, she had these socks where it had like little feathers that she used in the self-striping yarn, and it was gorgeous. So when she put out the call for test knitters, I had to be on this test. So I was able to get in. And so this is my like socks so far. So these are the little like feathers that are coming out. And it's such a fun technique. She does have a reel on her Instagram page on how she does it. But yeah, this has been a lot of fun. So the yarn I'm using is Old Romance by the Cozy Knitter. However, I have had to make some adjustments. The toe that she had written is new to me, this style of putting on a toe. So you cast on 6 stitches and you increase every round until you get to like 16. And then you increase every other round until you get to your final number. The increases were a make one right, make one left. However, I kept splitting the yarn. And it was totally a me issue. It was not a yarn issue or a pattern issue. I was the problem. So I decided to do a knit front back instead for my increase, which gives me the little bars, but I kind of like the little bars. So that doesn't bother me at all. The next thing I've had to adjust for is how many rows I go down to make these feathers. When the pattern was originally written, it was written for socks that had up to like 7 rows per color. This one has maybe 4, 5, between 4 and 5. So my little feathers are a lot smaller than what is originally written. So I have kind of a couple options. I could take the feather down 2 colorways, which I am thinking about ripping back and doing that so that the feathers are bigger. I've also noticed I had some tensioning issues with my feathers. So some of them are a little tighter than others. So part of me wants to rip back just for that reason. But this is a really fun knit. So anyways, it's a great colorway. I'm really excited about it. So that's the second work in progress. And then my third work in progress. Last week when I was editing, I didn't record this segment. And so I ended up recording it in the kitchen at night in horrible lighting. And so I wanted to make sure I got it on camera today so you could see it. This is my northeasterly blanket. So this is my scrappy project of the year. I'm trying to predominantly work on it. This is like all tangled up. Predominantly work on it on Sundays for Scrappy Sunday. However, every once in a while I do pick it up on a not Sunday, either because I am in a rush and all my knitting projects are upstairs and I have to leave for like Taekwondo or whatever, or I'm almost done with the color and I really just want to finish it. But here it is so far. So I'm gonna just kind of scan up This is a colorway from row 1. The artist of the month was Yarnaceous. This is one I already had. This is Woolberry. This is another Yarnaceous. This is Fiberology from the box of minis that I won. This is also Yarnaceous. This was an Advent mini I had from Yarn to You. This was one from Gabs that I got over Christmas. This is another Yarnaceous, and then this is one from Gabs as well. So I'm shooting to knit like a lap blanket, and the internet has all sorts of like suggested dimensions as far as what a lap blanket is. So that's kind of where my starting point is. I'm gonna knit to that point and then kind of put my stitches on hold and then start the next strip and then see, kind of do that for a bit and see if that's really the size that I want to do. So I still have a bit of this colorway. I did not finish this. I try and finish like the whole 10 grams. If anything, just, you know, to keep things neat. However, I was trying to finish these socks, and so I did work on these on a Sunday, but that's okay because no one cares. So yeah, that has been the Sunday project. I do have some of these minis left. Sorry, this is crinkling. I still have some minis left from January's row 1, and I have way too many leftovers and minis just for my own collection, so I'm not short on yarn. However, I am trying to use the row 1 kind of and mix it with what I have, because I have all sorts of things, but a lot of the mini skeins that I have are all like solids, not super variegated colors. So I don't want to have like just big patches of solid colors. I want to try and mix that into what I already own. So that's that project. So last week I talked about this auction that's going to be starting called Destash for Good. And if you want to learn more about it, check out last week's episode, episode 34. But Gary of Gary Knits, Gary Rides has started posting all of the items that are going to be available for bid. It's going to take him a bit because there were over 400 separate entries. I put in 8 items. 2 are sweater lots. One is La Ben Ami, one is Spin Cycle, and then I have a bunch of 6 like sock yarn lots. One of them has like 2 skeins and the rest are all singles. So keep an eye out for that. If you haven't seen last week's episode yet, definitely check it out. But Gary rides his bicycle in this race called Life Cycle, and it's a race from San Francisco to Los Angeles, which is 545 miles. And it's to raise money and awareness for AIDS research and treatment. So I think this is a wonderful thing. I cannot believe he's done this race multiple times, but I think that's wonderful that he's been doing this. So while I cannot ride my bike with him, I don't think I've ridden a bike for at least like 20 years. I love being able to help support him in this. So check those out. I think it's going to be a couple more days until everything is up and available. If you're on my Instagram, which if you're not, a link is down below. But if you follow me on Instagram, I will be posting in my stories when the auction goes live and which items I specifically have put up so that you can bid on those. All right, acquisitions. I have no acquisitions this week. I've been trying to be very good as far as like not buying things all willy-nilly. I'm trying to get rid of things, not get new things. However, I did purchase a pre-order today, but it was from a yarn colorway that I did not get last year and I very much wanted it. And this was like the last chance. So I got 2 skeins from Freckled Whimsy that will be coming next month. So they're not a today problem yet. And then as far as what I'm reading and what I'm watching, what am I reading? I am reading the Gallagher Girls series by Allie Carter. So fun fact about me, I was a English major in college and I worked at a library. So I did a lot of reading in high school and college. A lot of reading of things I was not interested in reading. So when I graduated from college, I ended up reading a lot of like young adult fiction and kids books and nothing like that would be considered adult, just because I could not take it anymore. And so that's just kind of like been my thing so far. I'm starting to read like adult books written for adults, but it's just kind of if I'm in the mood for it. So this is definitely like a teen girls series and I love it. The whole concept is that there is an elite girls boarding school that is actually training girls how to be spies. And they learn all sorts of like fun things. And so it follows this girl named Cammie and all the spy things and conspiracies that she's a part of. So it's fluffy, it's fun. It's not something I have to think too hard on. So it's been a couple years since I've listened to these books, so I'm reading those again. They also have really fun titles. So the one I'm reading right now is called Cross My Heart and Hope to Spy. They're just really fun. So enjoying those. And then what I'm watching, I started rewatching Miss Marvel on Disney+. I love like the Marvel universe and all those movies. And I really love Kamala's story in Miss Marvel. So been enjoying that. So it's a slightly shorter episode today. We didn't have a ton to go over, but at the same time, I'm trying to remind myself it's okay not to have 6 things that are finished, and it's okay to have long-term projects like a shawl that is not finished in 10 days. It's okay to take time to work on things and enjoy them. That's the whole knit and be happy part that I'm still working through. As far as like stuff coming up, life stuff, I have some traveling that's going to be coming up in the next 2 months. I'm going to be out of town for a couple days in February. I'll be out of town for a couple days in March. So I'm already trying to like plan ahead as far as like what project am I going to take with me. If I can finish the shawl before February, that would be perfect. Then I can take, fun socks. I should have the socks done by then, so I could do something like a pair of socks. I don't have to think too hard. Probably like a high desert socks, which I have very many high desert socks. Or I could do a hat, like a Musselburgh, that I don't have to think hard on at all. I just have to knit. So very easy to pick up and put down. And then I'm going to be traveling in March. I'm going to be going out of state for a couple days. And so I'm already thinking like, okay, what am I going to take with me to work on? I'm going to an area that snows. And so like part of me is low key, like I need to make sure I bring up like a backup project just in case we get like stuck at the airport, which I don't know if that actually happens in this area that I'm going to. But just in case, if I get stuck at the airport, I will have at least 1 backup project, if not 2, so that I don't go crazy. I'm not gonna have a ton of time to like just sit and knit, but we gotta plan these things out. I'm really interested to see when you go out of town or on vacation, how many projects do you take with you and how many do you actually end up working on? I try to limit projects that I take with me to like 1 or 2, like 1 and maybe a backup, because I know like I'm not gonna have a ton of time because I'll be doing certain things. But yeah, how many do you take with you for like a 3-day trip, 4-day trip? So that is today's episode. Thank you so much for spending a bit of time with me. I hope you have a wonderful weekend or weekday. If you're watching this during the week, make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.